Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of The Thing Is. Today I have with me an amazing guest. I have with me NanaAshani.
Oh Lord. It's like a boxing ring announcement.
Trying to make it big for you. I'm hyping you. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm so excited to have you today.
I mean, you have summoned me here.
Yeah,
today.
I have. I've summoned her here today. Yes.
What is going on? What's happening?
So the reason I brought you here is, well, the thing is, right?
Yes.
The thing is, the last time I interviewed you on my channel, we briefly touched on something that I think was really important to kind of bring back. I remember because we spoke about you recently getting married and what that was like for you and stuff. But I can't remember if you shared on camera or off camera. I didn't rewatch that video. That you actually didn't want to get married in the beginning.
Right.
And you had certain reasons for that.
Right.
So I felt like it would be nice to kind of explore some of those reasons today and also talk about, you know, has your viewpoint changed now you're married and the rest of it. But I specifically want us to talk about what you already said, which was you felt that women settle when it comes to marriage or that women lose out.
Yeah. Now, I still maintain that position,
Really?
actually. Yeah, I feel like, you know, when a product, because I used to be a business teacher, when a product is like marketed towards you, right? It's like pushed and pushed and pushed towards you.
Right.
The reason is that not only are we trying to get interest in it, but actually you might actually not need the thing that we're actually pushing to you. But you might be the best person to have it. So like you see how sometimes back in the day when we used to watch TV, I don't know if people watch things anymore, you see them doing baby commercials at 7 p.m.
Right.
9 p.m. news, 10 p.m. news. The babies are asleep.
Right.
It's not the babies we're trying to reach. We're trying to reach the parents who are up around that time. Do you understand?
Right.
So I feel like in that way, marriage as a product, as an idea has been marketed towards women a lot. Like, take it. You have to have it. If you don't have it, then you're not part of the in crowd. If you know what I mean? Like for me, when something is pushed like that, it just feels like, do I really need this thing?
That's a very interesting point that you make, actually. I've never thought of it like that before, actually.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, we're definitely in a society where at a certain point, when are you getting married? It's pushed on us a lot.
Since you're in your teenage years, like honestly, like people prep you from a child to get married. I don't know if it's like that for men. I can speak for men's experience. But when I was in college, I had this roommate. Whenever you fix your nails, she'd be like, "Oh, are these the nails you're gonna wear on your wedding day?"
What?
And then when you do your hair, she's like, "Are these the kind of hair you're gonna do on your wedding day?"
Really?
And she's like so obsessed with getting married because she's her mom's only daughter. So I saw that in her house. It was a thing that she's been raised to it, to talk about. Oh, this is kind of thing that a woman does. This is what you should aspire. And she was like in relationships. Like, we were young, okay? You're like 15, 16 years old. And she's like holding on tight to like relationships that she should not be in. Because women have, right from your childhood, you've been conditioned like this is what you're supposed to do. So I feel like people usually probably would want something, not thinking about why do I want the thing?
Exactly. That's a really good point.
And you want the thing because you've been told that it's a thing to want.
So I was actually going to interject you because just telling that story now about your friend, I actually felt like, well, then it sounds like she's actually just living for the wedding day rather than the marriage. The wedding day is just a day.
Well, guess who told her about the wedding day? Her mother. Her mom has been probably the one like in like, kind of like indoctrinating her.
Right.
Like, that's the day that you're going to become a different person. That's the day. And so she's also kind of like looking forward to it really unconsciously. A lot of people like don't realize the kinds of things that have been programmed. Like if you strip away your beliefs that you got from your parents, you'd probably be left with nothing, really.
Right.
Do you get what I mean?
It all stems from there. Absolutely.
Exactly. So for me, like from the beginning, I was like, okay, this thing has been praised so much and pushed towards women so much. I don't think I want it because what the hell?
But where did that come from? Because that's not, what you're saying is not necessarily a normal thing that, I've not heard this from another woman before.
Right.
Where do you think this stemmed from for you? Like to say, I actually don't want to get married.
I mean, I feel like I dodged marriage for most of my 20s. I actually like actively like,
But
you know.
what do you think caused that? Do you think something caused it, or
I don't think
you
there
just
was an
felt you were just
incident.
enlightened?
I think so. I think it was like, you know, I have always been a little too smart for my own good, not in a way that it's like street smart, something like book smart,
Right.
You know, for my own good, you know, like I skipped
yeah.
way too many grades. I went to college when I was 15 years old, if you can imagine.
Did you? I didn't know that.
Yeah, when I finished grad school, I was like 21 to 22.
Really?
That's what you do when you don't have a life and you're a nerd. That's what happens to you when you're a nerd. Like,
Right.
you just like, so it's like, I think it has definitely got to do like reading and just being a really observant child, like looking at my aunts that got married and my own parents' relationship, and looking at the fact that everything that women did, it came all the way back to marriage. Like everything that you have done. Like there's a proverb in Tree that says that, my little limited Tree, let's go.
Yeah.
It says that, se oba totua etremedem, like, which means that when a woman buys a gun, she puts it in a man's house or in a man's room. So which tells you that even with the most dangerous thing that you could acquire as a woman,
Yeah.
it's gonna come back to a man.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
And so I had always been like, I don't see, like, first of all, I didn't see the benefit that these women around me were getting from the union that had been so praised, because they were the ones that were always complaining. I never had the men ever like say anything in public about my wife is this, my wife is that. They were the ones that were always complaining. They were the ones that always looked tired.
Yeah.
They were the ones that were not dressing appropriately. Like, they were the ones that seemed to be suffering. You know, so why would I willingly go and be part of something that I didn't see any benefit?
But do you think that a lot of women get married because they also want to have children, and that feels like it's a part of what marriage is? You get married, then you have children.
Well, let's examine exactly where the you know, need for children comes in. Like, again, I feel like people wanting kids is sometimes a biological thing, like your body, like you get like baby fever and like maternal instincts, and I just want to be a dad.
Yeah.
Now, if people that already had kids really like sit down now to examine like the reason they wanted kids, I don't think we would get anything really logical, apart from the fact that it's biological. Like, your body
you just
will
feel it, yeah.
Exactly. Even when like women, like, I don't know who's listening to this podcast, but women, when you're in ovulation, you get super horny. Like, you get what I mean? Like, that's your body literally tricking you to let you know, like, hey girl, like, it's time. So you know what I mean? I feel like, honestly, when I think about it, like, people ask me, oh, you're gonna have kids. Like, that's the next natural thing after you get married in Ghana. In fact, as a married Ghanaian woman, you're not allowed to be sick. You have to be pregnant. You know? You have to be pregnant. What do you mean you have a flu? No, you're pregnant.
Go and check. Go and check. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And so I, like, again, I didn't get married in my 20s. I feel like it makes all the difference, honestly.
Right.
I didn't get married in my teens. I didn't get married in my 20s. I got married in my 30s, which now I am like set in my ways. I know exactly what it is that I want out of life.
I always say that.
Yeah.
You see, when I've said in the past, I got married at 24. When I say that, I feel like I got too young. People are like, but 24 is a great age to get married. And I feel it's too young.
It's not.
You have so much to learn about yourself, not even anything else or the world, yourself.
They're like, not even just yourself, like, scientifically. Your brain is not finished developing. Like, you know, like, people are like, oh, it's maybe 21. It's 21 that your frontal lobes, like, your frontal cortex, like, no, it's at 25 years old. That, like, your body itself, like, you see women, like, sometimes, like, when I see, like, on the internet, like, there's an 18-year-old that's like, oh, I went to get a BBL, I went to get a boob job. I'm like, girl, you should have just waited 3 more years and these things would have come in by themselves. You know what I mean? You literally have to be a certain age. Age, it's a number that matters. For your brain to develop, like, your decision making to develop to a certain place where you can be like, okay, now if I do this in 5 years, this is what's gonna happen to me.
Exactly. You look at the whole picture and not just this one thing,
when you're in your 20s, you don't have that sense.
I didn't have that sense.
You don't have that sense. No fault of you. It's just the way your body is made. You're not there yet. You know what I mean? I don't care what trauma you have experienced in your life. I don't care the places you have been. Just as a human being, your machinery, like you're not there yet.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why they used to let girls get married in their teens, because you're impressionable and you're like malleable, you're docile, like you don't know anything.
Pliable, right?
That's why that's why people like defending their right to marry children up there, like you know, in the US and in like, you know, our parts of the world, like people's culture still makes 15 and 16-year-old and 14-year-old girls get married to a man in his 40s and something, because at that point you're being like groomed for that.
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
you go.
Absolutely.
You're not gonna come manipulate me. I'll be my 30s.
Yeah, it's too late. Like what?
You have missed the water. Not to say that older people can't be duped or can't be
but it was a lot harder.
It's there's a thought process that goes into this, like some measurements, you know. So I feel like with age, and also like acknowledging the society that we're in and the way things, you know, work. Yeah, I had to come to that conclusion myself. If I had been when I getting married, it was gonna be never. You know, right now people are asking, "Well, when are you having kids? When are you kids?" I'm like, I'm never having kids.
So you don't want children?
I do not want children. Like I every time I get inside a relationship, the first thing I tell them, we're not gonna be having kids.
Right.
And it has not happened yet.
Yeah.
Maybe when in a couple of years you might see me pregnant, barefoot and cooking. You never know. Just know that I arrived at that decision myself. Right. But right now where I am in my life, looking at people that have had kids and the way I grew up and the way children are raised, the amount of money that's required for you to raise a child and the way I would have wanted to raise a child. If I'm not there, I'm not there. And so right now, today, you ask me, do you want a kid? The answer is no.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So does that, I mean, that must be quite difficult for people to digest. And that's very bold of you to say that, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that would probably agree with you, but would probably hide the fact that they don't want to have children.
I mean, duh. Imagine saying this to your mom.
I know, right? Because it feels like you're cutting off your lineage almost, you know?
I have thought about this. I'm like, okay, so after me, like there are three, I'm the oldest. After me, if I never have kids, that means there's not going to be anybody that's like taking up whatever. And then I think about it, I'm like, what am I going to be even leaving this person behind right now? If I had a child right now, what would I be leaving for them? Not a whole damn lot, like honestly.
So do you don't feel the maternal pull to have children?
Never. I have never, ever, ever in my life. I have never touched a baby in my life. I'm not even joking.
What?
Like I've had friends have babies. I'm never touching your baby. They all know this.
Really?
I'm not lifting your baby. I'm not touching your baby. I'm scared I'm gonna break him. So never changed a diaper in my life. Never bottles. And I also like feel like I had to take care of my siblings in a way that I was not prepared for, in a way that I shouldn't have been.
Yeah, shouldn't have been in that position.
Yeah, like my parents, I literally on the day of my mom leaving Ghana to go to America, I think I was maybe like 9 years old. And 9 or 10 years, I don't remember. She like physically gave me my brother's hand and my sister's hand. And my sister was like 1 or something. Right. And she's like, oh, here you go. Take care of them. I'm going to Kumasi. I'll be back.
Wow.
And then 2 days later, she calls me. She's like, oh, I'm with your dad in New York.
Ah. So who was looking after you?
So she had a friend who lived in our house. And this friend who had never had kids before, she also grossly unprepared for this sudden transition, was supposed to take care of us. And God bless her, she tried her best, but she, even till this day, she didn't have kids. She didn't like kids. Like, she did not like kids. She never wanted kids. And I mean, she suffered.
Right. So do you feel that experience led you to the decision that you made today?
I think, you know, as a 10-year-old or whatever, like, there has been something that has gone on in my genetic makeup or maybe not the right word genetic, but like I've been like, socialized in a way that I have already, experienced motherhood. One of my kids is a mechanical engineer right now, my brother.
Right.
And the other one is in medical school.
Wow.
I told my mom, if I was a mom, I'd be a proud parent because I had actually done my job.
Right.
Even when we were living in New York, when we all went to New York to join my parents, and I still had to go to PTA meetings. I still had to go when somebody was in trouble in school. I was the one who were calling. I would leave college. I would go and check on them. When I was in grad school, the same thing. I'm done raising my children. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah, I'm done. So what is the incentive I have for actually birthing a child and doing this whole process all over again? My son's 23. And if I had it when she was 1, I've been doing this job for 22 years. I don't want to do it again.
It's a lot. I completely
Do you get
hear
what I
that.
mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to do it again.
But I think it's fair because you explain to everybody that you date that you don't want children.
First thing, I mean, my husband, like, he's known from like the jump, and everybody's like, oh, like I can't believe like a Ghana guy, like an Ashanti guy will not be.
Yeah.
Like the thing about him is that he's the last of 8. And so he's also lived his whole life with a bunch of kids.
His own trauma, right?
He has that. It's like some of his nieces and nephews are older than him.
Wow.
And they have kids.
What?
And he's taking care of. Like, I feel like both of us have done our run, so if there ever gets to a time where I feel like, okay, like there is something to leave behind, or I have something that I can offer a child, or I don't even know why the hell I would do that. But maybe I would. But from, as early as I've known, like children have just not been my thing.
And that's absolutely fine. That's your decision, right? You have the right to say that.
But we're living in a society.
You're still a whole woman, right?
Yeah, but we live in a society that will punish you for not having children.
I know.
Though.
Yeah.
They will punish you for not being married, and they will punish you for not having kids. So
You just can't win, can you? Gosh.
Nothing that you do will be enough. Because if I had one kid, it's not going to be enough.
You can't just have one.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're never satisfied. It's very, very true.
So I just make my decision. I just chatter my own path, and I just do whatever is good for me,
So, obviously, this is an important question. What gave the turnaround for you to then get married? Because you said, I don't want to get married.
Exactly. Because the way I saw marriage and like still see marriage was there was nothing in it for women. Like, we're the ones that is, the majority, like the emotional burden of carrying the relationship was always on the women that I saw in my life. They're the ones that when something is wrong, they have to go get the elders together.
Right.
To kind of like settle, even when the man is wrong and he chooses not to talk to you. So I got to the age where I was like, okay, I am going to have to choose a partner that's going to share this with me. Do you understand?
Right.
If the person was not willing to lift your half, or do things in a way that would not make them the sole beneficiary of this union, then it wasn't going to happen.
Right.
Do you understand?
So you wanted it to be more of an equal partnership rather than...
It has to be. I feel like I wanted a relationship that was so seamless. Like you did not see the head, you did not see the tail, you did not see how it was going. It had to flow for me. Like my personality just had to flow. So that's why I probably waited a long time. Until I found a partner that was not selfish. Because I feel like there's like an undercurrent of like selfishness in our society that we don't talk about. Like, and so I found somebody that I felt will hold his end. And so that's why, I had that. And even that the only damn thing he didn't do was do a PowerPoint presentation on why we should get married. But it was months and months. You could ask him. You're cool with him. You could ask him. He will call me. He will call my mom. He was like, listen, right, this is going to happen. I was like, okay. And I'll question him. I'm like, okay, what is going to happen? What is this? If this happened, what? Like so much for many, many months before I was like, okay, let me go and like talk to God about this. And then I'll get back to you about, how it is. So it was not a very like, I didn't even just like arrive at it one day. Like it was like a process, of like making sure that I'm going to get what I need.
Right.
Else it wasn't going to happen. Yeah.
That's a very interesting way to think of it. Okay, so were you dating before you got married? And if you were dating, what was the purpose of you dating if you didn't want to get married?
That is so funny to me because like I had always been And I still am a very now person. Like, I'm not a
Okay.
past person, and I'm also not a future person. I'm a present person. Like, I always
Okay.
I feel like people always want to be like, oh, where did you go to school? Like, what did this? And I can't even remember the dates that certain things happen. But there's some people that can give you blow by blow. Like, this happened on this
Oh,
date.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not one of those people.
Right.
So I enjoy whatever is happening to me right now. You know,
okay.
so we dated for 2.5 years. And funny thing, we started dating, and 2 weeks later, we moved in together.
Oh, really?
Like, he just came to my house one time and he never left.
What?
We just stayed together for 2.5 years, going on 3 years actually, is when we got married.
Right.
So my thought process for having a relationship was, okay, I found somebody, he's a really great guy, he's hilarious, he's this, he's that, he works a lot, blah, blah, blah. And we're together and we're having this relationship, we're experiencing life, and we're doing great. And that's all I ever cared about. If it had continued all the way into our 60s, I would have still loved it.
Wow.
There was no.
So do you think it was more about the companionship part of the relationship more than you needed to have something signed to
It's
say you're
just
married?
no. I mean, you should have seen me. Like, I did not want to do certain things even in the marriage. I didn't want there to be a bride price. I didn't want there to be certain things. Like, I felt like they were so unnecessary.
Right.
But like I said, there is a society that we live in, and there are certain aspects of it that we have to lean into.
Right.
And the ones that don't fit you, don't suit you, you don't have to lean into.
Yeah,
them.
right.
You understand? So I just, I'm enjoying everything that's happening to me right now. Like, this whole experience actually of meeting a guy, dating a guy for a couple of years, getting married to the guy. It's been such an experience.
Wow.
It's been, and I just like, there is nothing that compares to like, this experience.
Yeah. I love that you kind of created your own model for the way you're going to go into marriage. You weren't swayed in any way. You just you took it at your own
Girl,
pace.
I wore a black wedding dress. Like, it was just
no. Did you do a white wedding? Did you actually do the legal documents for a white wedding?
I did it, but we just didn't do it like in the way that it's normally done. Like, I'm just saying, I'm gonna chat on my own path. Like, I have told him, I was in New York. I was there. I was working. I went to school. Everything. When I was like 28, I said, okay, I'm done with New York. I'm coming to Ghana. I come to Ghana. I've been here going on 4 years now. I'm here. I'm married. I have a damn dog.
Yeah.
I have a house. I have a new business. I'm enjoying that. When that is done for whatever reason, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to go somewhere else. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I have to, so I've talked with my husband, like, do you want to go live somewhere else? Do you want to do this? If this chapter is finished, then it's finished. We're gonna go and we're gonna do something else.
This chapter.
For me, I feel like people hold on to things way too tight.
It's dead.
Like,
it's like
it's
finished.
People
bury
will
it.
come on the internet and narrate story times of their friends and their husbands. I was like, girl, no. Think about how many places you've lived in your life. Think about how many cars you've been in, and imagine if you stayed in the same place all your life.
Yeah, what is that? Is that life?
You're driving a car, you never got out of the car. Like,
yeah,
it's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm a very present person now that I know that about me. Like, if the thing is going, it's going. If it's not going, we're getting off.
Yeah, I hear. So tell me this. Do you think that it's important in marriage that a woman doesn't lose herself and she needs to be making her own money? Because I've heard stories where, people have got married, the relationship isn't going well, but the woman can't leave because she doesn't make any money. So she's trapped and has to stay in the marriage because otherwise she's literally going to walk out the door with nothing.
I know. I just it's just, I don't know where, because of the way marriage is, like, I don't have a lot of experience, so don't even quote me on this, but the way it is one thing that we're learning now, like, putting your finances together, right? So if somebody's making 1,000 and somebody's making 1 and it comes together, both of us now have like 1,000 and a 1.
Yeah.
So sometimes it gets very difficult to like see where the beginning is and where the end is. What is my money and what is your money?
Right.
Because you're even supposed to have joint accounts together. But in all of it, you need to know the person that you're dealing with.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh, this person is my husband.
Yeah.
No, this person is Frank. How is Frank? with money? How is
Right.
Frank with this? When Frank is mad, what does Frank do?
Right.
When Frank is happy, what does Frank do? Like, I think people need to stop looking at whatever relationship, your parents' relationship, your friendships, your whatever, in the lens of the individual that you're dealing with, not the
Right.
actual institution.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So then I know the way. My husband, he's a spender. Like, he will buy a new car. If you don't like, he will buy shoes, he will buy this, he'll buy, so like somebody like that, like when he gets money,
Yeah.
he's spending it.
Right.
How is he with money? So you don't sit there and just be in the back there and hope that something is gonna happen. You have to plan.
Yeah.
You have to plan. You have to have things in your name,
Yeah. Yeah.
not Mrs. Somebody. In your actual name, your maiden name, your name that you actually have.
Right. So you
have
think
to
it's
have-
important to buy stuff and do stuff in your maiden name, not
Yes.
necessarily your married
not
name.
not hide it behind your back or anything, not at all. But like, you should absolutely want things. You should absolutely get stuff. You know, ideally, you should have done it before you got married.
Yeah.
Which, if you got married later in life, you probably would have.
Yeah.
But if you're now married and you know, you have to get something in your name. Bare minimum, get shelter in your name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, if Frank, hypothetical Frank, is somebody that really gets mad and throws your things out of the house, and you kind of patch it up and go back one day when he's really done with you,
Yeah.
he's gonna kick you out of the house.
Right. So
Where are you gonna go?
But you know, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. So some people will say, but it seems like you have already a negative output, like as if like then you're not going into marriage as a whole. You're almost coming in thinking that, oh well, somewhere down the line we're going to separate, so let me protect myself.
Are you special? No, like, I feel like people have deluded themselves in thinking they're special, but you're actually not really special. Like, you know how certain things go in this world. Like, let's just take the butterflies out of your stomach and actually apply your adult like mind to it. You need to think about it as a grown up.
Yeah.
Like, this is my thing with people.
Right.
You need to think about things as a grown up. You know, you're going to work. So that, let's say your husband is going to work, because
Yeah.
usually it happens. Your husband's going to work. He owns a mall or whatever, and you're in the house. You're cleaning the house. You're cooking. You're taking care of kids. There is a monetary value attached to what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Why are you not getting that? Do you know what I mean? It's not a we're separating thing.
Yeah.
It's a I'm contributing into my own life thing.
So do you feel like
Do you
the
get what I
husband
mean?
should be giving the wife money?
Depends on the agreement that both of you had. If your husband was like, "Oh, sit home, I'm gonna take care of you," okay, then you're literally gonna take care of the person, are you
Yeah.
not? If the wife is like, "Okay, I make enough," because a lot of women do make a lot of money now.
yeah.
And some of the men are actually better nurturers than women. I don't know why we've deluded ourselves in thinking women are these natural nurturers. And I feel like some men are like way better at taking care of kids and like.
But they don't have the time. But for me, I'm a bit traditional, so I feel like the man should be going to work, and the woman predominantly will take care of the children.
I
But
think
that
you
doesn't mean
should
that doesn't mean she doesn't work. But
Right.
that's like.
I think you should do what your personalities actually like offer.
So if
I
your
don't
husband
think-
was a stay-at-home husband, and
I'd be
you were,
absolutely okay with that. Like, if he was better with children that I was, and we had children, and I was making enough to cover, he could absolutely stay home, because I'm not going to be the one to be taking care of doing the part of the relationship that my talents and my skill set and my, you know, like sort of like interest or even time does not allow for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But some people would argue that you as a woman could lose respect for the man because he's not playing the role of a man, whatever that is. So I'm doing this.
That's
you know?
again where we go wrong. I just feel like people need to like stop holding on to things so tight that do not work for them. What is a man? A man is what we have made them. A man is somebody that's supposed to go out and protect. And the hell are they protecting you from? It's 2023. Like, whenever people say that, it's so funny to me. Like, what? That's like a full job, isn't it? Protecting me from what?
Right.
From what?
Protect and provide, right?
From what? Who made that up? People made that up. So I'm not actually going to put you in a box where it says you're a man, so you have to do this. I've been with, you know, my husband now, like we're going on like 4 years. Like it has been split like along the lines. We're talking about it. there was one time where I was making a lot more money than he was, and I took care of everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'd say that because like I said, I didn't want it to be a beginning. I didn't want it to be an end. I wanted it to be as seamless as possible.
Right.
And in that time, he was building his business. He was like doing stuff. You know, he was not like just sitting there doing nothing. He was still paying stuff.
understand.
But I was the main person that was doing it. Fast forward, 2 years have come. I've changed careers. I just started a business. And now it has changed. Now he's the one that's doing everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he's doing
Taking
stuff, and
turns,
now
yeah.
I'm growing my business. In the next 2 years, when my business picks up, it might be a different dynamic. Do you understand? I'm not going to have less respect for him because he's building something right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If he was staying in the house playing video games, that's when people lose respect for you.
Right.
It has
That's an
nothing to do
excellent
with the
point.
fact that you're not
Right.
earning money. It has to do with what you're doing whilst you're not earning the money.
Right.
You know, because like
right.
I was a woman and I was supposed to be a stay-at-home mom, and we had one kid, and your husband will come home and you didn't take care of the kid.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything for yourself even.
Yeah.
You're not gonna like be attracted to you or
Yeah,
not. Like, you know what I mean?
right, yeah.
So the reason why people lose respect for their husbands going in any money is the stuff they do when you're not earning the money.
Yeah.
That's where the problem is.
I see. That's a very valid point, actually. I think it's good to make that distinction between the two things. It's what he's doing during that time, not
What
the fact that
he's
he's
doing.
just being a bum. He's not just being a bum. He's just,
I shudder to think that there's a man out there. Sure, men are very egotistical beings, so they will take it. It will be a little hit to your ego if your wife is making more money than you are.
right.
But you don't want to sit in the house.
I know, right? Doing
I
nothing.
want to sit in the house
Right,
and do nothing.
right.
I've been working all day and I'm here. I want to sit in the house doing nothing. I think some men will actually enjoy it if there wasn't how do you call it? This whole, oh, but is he a man thing? You see him, he's walking over there with his muscles and his, legs and his chest.
Right.
You see that's a man coming. Why would your manhood ever be in dispute? It shouldn't be.
Right.
There's never been a day where I woke up and I feel less woman than I am because I didn't make a certain amount of money or I don't look a certain way. No. You know, so if society will you dispatch yourself from what society expects you to do.
Do you feel that we as a society have bought into the whole advertising thing of being married and going down that path?
Oh, absolutely. We have. You see, I was even talking to, your friend before we did this. That he was like, "Why do people have to sign papers when they get married? Can we just say we're married and we're together and we're living
I have
together?"
this conversation with him all the time.
Right. Why?
Yeah.
Why? And I said everything has pros and cons. Number one, I went to the hospital one time. I was really sick, and he was like, my husband at the time was my boyfriend. He was sitting by my bedside, and the doctor came in. He's like, "Are you her boyfriend or are you her husband? Because if you're a boyfriend, you need to get out of here." And he was very frank about it. I don't know what has happened in the hospital before. And I said, "Oh, he's my husband." He's like, "Oh, okay, then you can stay."
Oh my God.
And at that point, I was the only one in Ghana. Like, my whole family's not here. I'm the only one here.
Right.
So he's my advocate.
So what has changed?
Now we're married, right? If at the time I said he's my boyfriend.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
The
saying. What
doctor-
has changed? If you had said he's my
A
boyfriend.
paper has been signed. Do you understand? That is the pro of that paper. When people say like, "Oh, marriage is just a piece of paper," no, it ain't. Like if you and a man are there, or you and a woman are there, and he died interstate in our laws in Ghana,
Right.
you're not a spouse. His family could come right now and be like, "Give us our body. We're gonna cremate him." Maybe he told you, "I don't want to be cremated."
Right.
What are you gonna do?
But surely the traditional marriage would stop that if you were married traditionally.
It would stop that, but then also like the ordinance marriage also goes a step further because our traditional marriages, let's say my husband, he's Ashanti, right? If we had property together and he died without a will, let's say we're going traditional, that would mean that his nephew will be entitled to some of his properties. Right? But under the law, there's nothing like nephew is a wife, and that's it.
Right, I understand.
Do you get so every level that you kind of get married, every type of marriage has its own pros and it has its own cons.
I get it.
You go, so that's why it might be like, okay, why are we signing a piece of paper for? Let's just go ahead and do this thing. But it protects you from certain things.
I get it.
On the other hand,
I know, right? I know. Go on.
The day I got married, the man looked at my husband dead in his eyes like, listen, you cannot marry a second woman. Okay? This paper means, yes, look directly in his eyes. He said, this paper means you have one wife and you have one wife alone. I was like, what has been going on in here? And my husband was like, why are you talking to me? He's like, yes, because you're the ones that keep doing that. And he's like, if you want to break this, you can go to your pastor. You can tear the paper. You have to go to court.
Yes. And that's the long process.
That is the long process.
That's where it begins.
That is the long process.
You don't want to go through that.
You know, people always say, oh, you're preparing for the end at the beginning. Like, when you're going to school, are you hoping not to graduate?
No,
like,
of course not.
You know?
Of course not. Yeah.
It's the only thing that we're delusional about, and I don't understand why.
Yes.
Like, I really don't understand why people are so delusional about it. Like, you know, in a lot of religious marriages, like Christian marriages and things, like, the vows that you made is for you to be together till one person parts. My pastor said he's not going to put that in our vows, and he did not. Wow. He did not, because I think it's getting to a point where people have seen that the way society expects us to be is not working.
Right.
You know, and this is a man of God. He has a whole congregation and everything. He did not put that clause in there. And he had a conversation with us. He's like, I'm not going to let you say that. I've been married for 27 years, and I know why I'm telling you. I'm not going to let you put that in there. Because sometimes people feel like the way they can get out of this vow is to either kill the person or like do something to harm themselves because you made this vow that the only thing that's going to separate you is when you die. So,
you know, it's very interesting. Anyway, that's probably for another show. Anyway, I'll update you another time. Very interesting, guys.
Right. So I feel like the way that we look at certain things, even including marriage, like we need to update.
Yeah.
We need to update.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So just very quickly before we end, what do you think, what advice would you give to someone who is perhaps married? Because let's be real, people are watching this video right now, right? And they are in a situation where they feel like they want to get out, but they can't. They're stuck because they don't have the money to leave. What would you tell them to do? What kind of things can they put into place in order to...
When it comes to the finances, right?
Yeah, finances.
I would say that everything that I have said probably will be super nonsense to you, but these are my opinions and these are the principles that I've lived by my life. And you can, you know, look at your situation right now and ask yourself, like, what is it going to be? You really have to choose. You really have to choose. Maybe there's a lifestyle that you're accustomed to. You don't want to let that go. What is that worth to you?
Yeah.
What is it worth to you? You really have to choose.
Yeah.
You know, even if you were going to be destitute, sleeping under a bridge somewhere, what is that worth? Is it worth like your life? Is it worth your peace of mind? What is it worth? Yeah. You know, because there are a lot of people that I feel like because of these vows that you're taking, they're so like you're so tied to this thing that they can't separate themselves. And you're like, oh, I don't have the money. I feel like it's just an excuse, really.
Yeah.
It's really, so, I have to stay for the kids. They didn't ask you to do that. Like, you know what I mean? You're finding an excuse. So
exactly.
Think about what it's worth to you. If you think that, you know, money is worth you staying in a position that you're in, or even money is enough for you to get married. Because I've been seeing a lot of hot takes online about like marrying this man that has money. Yeah, this man's leg could break and he can't go to work anymore. Then what? Then what? You need to find reasons for everything that you do, and hopefully your reason doesn't become like sort of an excuse or a crutch for you.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to someone this week, I can't remember who it was, and we were talking about everybody has a limit. Right. So you'll get to a point where there's a limit, and you're like, once you reach that limit, that is it. You cannot take.
You should have boundaries.
Everybody's limit is completely different. So for some women, the limit is not cheating. If he cheats, I'll stay. Yeah. If he gets another wife, I'll still stay. Yeah. You have to know what your limit is, where you're gonna say, this is enough, I'm not dealing with it anymore. Right. You need to know what that is. You need to be real with yourself.
And people are like, I was like, anyway, I stay off the internet because it's like such a terrible place. People say, oh, there's nothing like boundaries in marriage. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. You need to always advocate for yourself.
Right.
The men that feel like they've been turned into workhorses and all they do is provide for their households and nobody cares about them. Nobody even asks you, hey, how are you doing? All they do is provide for their households.
Right.
You need to have some boundaries for yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
And like,
I
you don't
fully
feel
agree.
like, another thing that really irks me, this podcast is going to get long.
She's going in, guys. Yeah.
Something that really irks me about this whole thing too is the longevity thing. Like, how long have you been married? Oh, 6 years. Okay. And then when somebody say, how long have you been married? They're like 30 years. Oh my God. It's almost like there is a pressure to prove like your love by how long you have gone. Almost like everything that you've experienced, even people start talking about, oh, we're together for how many years they've been married, not how long they've actually been with the person.
Very, very, very good point.
They just go by, we've been together for 2 years. But meanwhile, these people were dating for like 5-6 years before they even got married. So now you're defining your whole entire relationship by that, and then you're pushing for the number. You're pushing like, I want people to see that, for what?
This is the thing, you see. For me, when I got into my separation,
Right.
people were like, but how long were you married for? Then I'd be like 18 years, like basically 19 years. And they're like, but how can you walk away from that? They're so focused on the number.
Exactly.
So should I suffer for another 19 years?
Longevity. I had this friend that was
whatever?
being beaten by her boyfriend, like beating to a point that she even like passed at one time. I had to take her to the hospital.
What?
And then we were kids, girl. Like we were kids. We're in college. We were kids. And we asked her, we're like, when are you going to break up with this idiot?
Right.
She's like, we've been together for 5 years. I was like, girl, think about how many more years you have in front of you.
Right. Or how many years before he kills you.
Think about how many years you have in front of you.
Right.
And like every time, like honestly, I have had no qualm. And I think like it's such a scary thing, even for my husband. He's like, what is wrong with you? Like, I'm like, I've had such a great time knowing this guy. The good, the bad, the times I've wanted to strangle him, the times that I'm cuddling him, the times that I've had such a great time that if it comes to an end, whatever means it happens, I'm going to be so happy and so grateful that I've had this experience.
Yes.
You understand? Instead of being focused like, okay, I can't do this, but let me stay in, because if I've been in for 18 years, what's another 2 years gonna do to me?
Right.
Like, what's another 3 years gonna do to me? What's another, like, it's almost like you're competing with nobody.
Yeah.
Really.
Right.
You're competing with nobody. It's like that longevity thing really like irks me. It's just like, I don't get it. Like the way people are so like, oh, they've been married for 60 years. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like there's a reward at the end of it, right? Like you have made it. Congratulations.
They made a personal choice to be with that person for that long, hopefully for the right reasons.
Yeah.
But I think you should focus on what's happening
in front of you.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I really
focus on what's happening instead of like, even if you're not married or you never want to get married and you're in a relationship, stop trying to push it like we're going to the next level.
Yeah.
And like pushing someone like, when are we gonna get married? When are you gonna get married? You know what I mean?
Right.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy the time.
You
That's
know?
it. Yeah.
Instead of focusing on what's the next thing, what are we doing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. You've been wonderful to talk to. I told you she was going to be a good one. I knew it. Like, I love it because I love talking to people who are just so honest about their opinion. Even if your opinion is not popular, I think it's really important to be honest because, as I said to you earlier, no matter how many 1,000 people can disagree with your viewpoint, there's going to be people who agree with you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Just like you have to have a personalized life.
Yeah.
You have to have a personal, customize your life.
Aha.
You know?
Perfect. Yes.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And people will talk and talk and talk. At the end of the day, when I go to bed, I go alone. What do you care?
Exactly. Do what works for you. I think it's very, very important because otherwise you become miserable. And what's the point of that, right?
Right.
Wow. I need to have you back on the show, man. Honestly, like really, it's been absolutely amazing. I've loved speaking to you today. I'm actually thinking about doing a group podcast. So
I will be here. I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm happy for you.
But where can people find you? You're not really YouTubing anymore, are you?
know,
But you
I
still got
do-
your stuff there, though,
Yeah, I do
right?
have a lot of business related stuff, living in Ghana stuff on YouTube, NanaAshani. On internet, I miss NanaAshani everywhere. I have a new store, the big shop is coming to your neighborhood soon. So you can check us out, you know, and we're doing stuff. We live here, we're in the moment, we're enjoying the moment, enjoy your life, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we'll see how this life thing turns out. But for now,
love
like
that.
yeah, we're doing stuff. It's going great.
Great outlook
Yeah.
you have. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, that is the end of today's video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I'm smiling because I've had such a great conversation. We were speaking before the camera started rolling, and we've just had a great conversation
Yes.
throughout, off camera as well. So it's been amazing. But anyway, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, guys, please do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment, and share this video. Until next time, we are out. Nutitfafa.